Okay. This is my podcast. My intro is awesome. Between You and I, the Bad Grammar podcast, number 5. I think. I wish it was number 7 because that would have been really perfect. Quick, do a podcast. Yeah. Do 2. Yes. Hey, don't topic. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. 5 going on 7. That's what we're going to call it today. So we're here with Elizabeth and Celine and Valerie from 7 Year Bitch.
Hello.
Hellos. And the last time I got to talk to most of you guys was at the benefit show we did for James Atkins, and everybody got to play, and it was like a high school love fest reunion. and also, I don't know if you guys felt this way too, but I felt like I had to emotionally recover a little bit, just surprisingly, because I feel like it takes you way back. Yeah. And then you've got, and that can churn up some things, and in a good way, and even a sad way or whatever, everything's personal. And then sort of you have to go back forward into your daily life. And I was like, not so easy. Like, I don't know, it just made me a little crunchy, because there's so much of that brought up, like, oh, I really liked that. Yeah. Here's what I liked about that time, or here's what I was doing creatively that I liked, and warm and fuzzies about, wish I'd talked more during that time or known people better. And then to go back into an office, I was like, well, that's just shite.
I love Harris, I think it was the second show, right, where he was like, all of a sudden, I don't even know what sparked the conversation. You guys must have been bantering or something, and he was like, Comet, class of 92, Comet Tavern, class of 92. And I was like, that's totally what it was like. It was really
Did you guys feel the same way? Did you sort of, how was that show for you and all the being there? And
oh, yeah.
I'd love to know how somebody else feels.
Honestly, it was, and I think I've said this a couple of times, it was like magical. It was like, going into it was exciting because when Ben was starting to send the emails around about the rehearsal schedule, and you started to realize like everybody's in the same boat, relearning their old songs, and stuff, and talking about it. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, right. And all these names that you hadn't seen in these group emails and texts and stuff that were happening. And that started getting like, wow, it's going to be cool. But really had no idea to what was really going to happen once it started. And it was like a reunion. It was like, oh my God, there's so-and-so and there's so-and-so and they're here. And,
yeah, I feel like I needed another week. Yeah. Like I needed to be at camp and be like, no, I need to sit down and really think about this. Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe that's just me. But I remember when we were like, oh, let's do a benefit because that's like the thing you can do. But people signed on really fast. I mean, there was only a week where people were like, well, I don't know if they're going to want to do that or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're in. And we're like, oh, okay. So I thought that was pretty great. People rallied instantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like really a testament to, to James and everybody's love for him and friendship for him. Because I think he was really not expecting that either, which
I don't think he ever expects anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like he's self-deprecating to the point of,
right.
Like when he wasn't feeling well and Greta was like, it's just like him to be like, nah. Like, I'm not going to go to the hospital. No, I don't want to bother anybody. She's like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you have to go to the doctor.
You need to go to the doctor.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
But I think, there's everybody rallying around that. And, like, that being the focal point. And I know that was a huge reason why the gifts came out of, hiding. I don't remember how long it had been since you guys had done a reunion relatively. Oh, no, that was Goodness.
Oh, it was like 10 years ago.
Okay.
No, Hammerbox did one show. And it was like 10 years ago or something like that. So,
and how did that feel in comparison to this?
It felt a lot better. I don't know what happens. Everything happens in 10 years. And maybe it's between like the late 30s and then into your late 40s. But I think enough really sobering things or life passage things happen where any anger or resentment you had that you were holding on to just were non-existent. Right. Yeah. And there was just a lot more softness and a lot more love, like a serious, not a desperate, but like an earnest, like care. I mean, just, especially for Hammerbox, I mean, we, maybe it's just for 4 people together, I never hung out with those, I never hung out with those guys. I mean, it was just, and we were all so different. I don't know if that's true for Harris, because Harris hung out with Ben and everybody, but, and then, for us, sweet Dave, and Dave can hear this later, whatever, but he was difficult. It was really hard. It was like, he was really difficult. I mean,
he's a problem child.
He is. He was called Bummer Dave. It was his nickname, and he knows it. So, you know, he's just intense. Like, intense the way you're like, oh my God, you know, like, you can see it coming when he's going to be like, his thing was like, I got to talk to you.
Oh, no.
God, again, what about recycling or about what, you know, what do you not like today? Like, I wasn't prepared for a personality like Dave. I mean, I'm fresh from the Tri-Cities-ish, you know, like, and just, I had never met anybody like him. I mean, that he could suck the life out of any room. and did. He did. It's nothing I haven't said to him, you know what I mean? Seriously. I mean, it was just like, coming into the room and you're like, oh my God. Like,
Sorry, you're from Tri-Cities?
I am, yeah. I grew up in Kennewick.
Oh my God, I went to college in Walla Walla. I moved here from
Did you
Walla
go to Whitman?
Walla. No, I went to Walla Walla University.
Right on. I love Walla
I
Walla.
pretended to be from Whitman. Whitman was cool. Believe me. The Whitman
Did you live in
students-
Walla Walla?
Yeah, I went to college there.
I didn't know that.
You have to live there to go to college there.
Do you really? Like in state? What do you mean?
Yeah, I went to Walla Walla University.
Right on.
And then I would go and hang out where all the all the same places as the Whitman kids do, and I would actually hang out on Whitman campus.
Right.
Because they were more my people. I was like, please, I don't want to be, because that was a seminary, so it was really strict.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they had like an amazing, like, I had friends from Seattle end up going over there for the drama school that they have over there for acting.
Surely you speak of Whitman.
Yes. Yes. They did, but it was intense. Like, I'm going all, you know, like little schools like that where people would be like, yep, or read, you know, or things like that. If somebody was into the arts.
Eastern Washington, which is also where Celine is from. I remember any band.
Spokane, Washington.
No way.
Yeah.
Why do I not know this? This is stupid. I'm 49. I don't know this about you.
Yeah, no,
Till
I
now.
get to see.
You can't tell by looking at us, but we, spent some time
Love
there.
it.
But you know
My
what's
sisters know.
any band that would play in Walla Walla, I would just be their fan. And I would buy all their merch. I was like, I like this band because they came to Walla Walla and played. It's
Yes.
something like that in Spokane too. Like,
Yeah.
hey, a band's playing in Spokane. I love that band.
Yes.
I hate
Yeah.
every
Yes.
record they make.
Yeah.
And the Gashuffer, Holy Ghost people, Matt's band before Gashuffer, they
Oh,
were
really?
from Walla Walla.
Oh, were they really?
Matt's from Walla Walla too.
I love that. I saw when we were in high school, Eric started bands. My brother Eric started bands before I did, and it was all hardcore. And so those are the first shows in the Tri-Cities. And then we saw like Black Flag in Walla Walla.
Oh yeah, that was that was a famous
Yes.
epic show.
Yes.
Yep.
Where he took a chair to like Andy Monco and like a whole bunch of shit just went down. And
You
it's
remember it much better than I do.
Oh my God, I do. Because I at that time, like, I was in choir. I mean, I was sort of like, I'm new wave and I like music. But so you just ended up going to hardcore shows because that's what was going on. And I just remember being like, where's my brother? Like in the foray of like, the circle that's going on. And then Andy at the time in high school, which was just a provoker too. Like he'd just be a dick to your face. I don't know, just for amusement. And he decided to do that to Henry Rollins. Oh, I know what it was. He was up front and he was saying something smart assy. And the next thing I hear is Henry Rollins going from one asshole to another and took his mic and went whack and smacked him in the face.
Holy.
Yeah, and then afterwards, we're just, everyone's like dispersing. I'm looking for my brother, and all I see is like Andy running and Henry Rollins with a fold-up chair, like, you motherfucker! Like, and I was like, woo! I'm only new. All right, let's get the car.
Yeah.
But that's kind of fun, though. I think that those places actually ended up having a lot of stuff go on that was cool to think about now, even.
Yeah.
Make it up as you go.
One time, you just reminded me of a story I have to tell.
Do it.
Because we were playing this show. It didn't have much of a stage. It was pretty ground level, maybe a smidgen of a stage. Anyway, this guy was slamming around in front of me. I'm singing. He's slamming around in front of me. And he was knocking into me purposefully. And he came around once, did it, and I stood back and did it. And he hit the mic into my mouth and it cut my lip and my lip was bleeding. And I was just like, and I kept singing or whatever. Elizabeth saw it all, right? And the dude circles back around to come at me, and she took off her bass and hoiled it above her head, had this like lunge stance, and like looked at the dude like with her bass over her head, like she was gonna crack him right over the head. And he stepped towards us again, and I was like, oh my God.
That's pretty
That
awesome,
was
though.
so awesome.
That's a badass moment where you're like,
Yeah.
I will fight you.
Yeah.
Like, I will
That was in
fight you.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Is that where that
I was
was?
in St. Louis. I remember it very well because I remember thinking, it was the heat of the moment, so there was no forethought. But then later, after the fact, I'm like,
I could potentially kill somebody with my bass. I could hit someone in the temple and I could murder them with my bass. So I'm glad that he took the big old hint to back the fuck off.
Once my lip was bleeding, and he
like, I would have to take responsibility for that. You know.
Yeah. I always think about like I'd always say like if my mom could only see what the hell's happening here.
Right.
Not that like I cared, but I was like I just love that kind of thought. Like, what would mom think about that? But I just think about all the aggressive moments that you just end up getting into that you probably wouldn't on your regular day. You know what I mean? Your adrenaline.
Absolutely.
The potential fight. Like, I'm not a fucking fighter. Like, but you get in certain situations where you're like,
you are now.
I'm going to kick you in the face. Yeah, like,
you're about to be a fighter.
There's something that feels really good about that, though.
Oh, totally.
Know. You are in a power position if you're up on stage. You're like, I can kick you in the head. You probably get away with it. Something else.
For the support of the crowd, too. Everybody's going to
if I need you, I got a couple tools.
Right.
Like,
and then I one time at the Weathered Wall. I think it was the first Home Alive benefit, and I can't remember her name. I feel bad, but she was reading poetry. It wasn't Christiane at all. Not even slightly was it her. Somebody was up there reading poetry, and I can't remember her name. Doesn't matter. So she's reading poetry, and she's getting heckled by one dude really badly, really bad. And she was just pressing on, but her voice was kind of quavering. And then he was like sloshed some beer on her. And it was the first night that I ever really met and hung out with Inga Musia. You know Inga?
Yeah.
And again, it was just like this like adrenaline moment. I don't know if you guys remember this. He was holding a beer like this, and I just took the base of the palm of my hand and just like uppercut him. So I just knocked the pint out of his hand. And then I thought, okay, all right, I just did that. That was good. That was good. And then like a fucking circle formed around us, like fight. No one was saying that, but that was the implication. It's a circle. Like, now, what's the next move? You've done that. What happens next? And I was so adrenalized. I don't even remember. I said something to him, and Inga probably said a bunch of stuff to him that was better than what I said, because she's good with words. And then we were all hopped up, and then Inga's like, let's go drive around. So we got in her car, we drove around in Seattle. I was like, looking for a face to put our fist in or something. Let's drive around.
When are you gonna tell your kids that? Like, when in your life now? I figure when in your life now, you're like, I'm just punch you in the face. Like, I kind of miss a little bit of that. I miss a little bit of powerful feeling. You know what I mean? Like, I like that.
We're seeing a side of karaoke we've never knew existed.
Well, that was part of my thing at the show too. Was I realized at the time, the Hammerbox time, like I didn't really hang out with anybody really. You know what I mean? Like I just didn't. I think I hung out with Dave. Dave Hawks. For the whole time. Ish. It's not like him and I talked a lot either. And so
who is that guy? What the hell were you doing, Carrie?
He's married, has 2 kids. I don't know. I was just
Where does he live?
alone.
Does he live in Seattle?
He lives in West Seattle. He's married. He has 2 kids, and he's doing great. Yeah,
awesome.
Dave's an awesome guy.
I always kind of forget. I was in a band sort of with him.
Were you?
Bit. Yeah, I played drums and dickweed a little bit.
My God, that's right.
God, you and Terry. Yeah.
And then there'd be like this one song we would do where everyone had a little solo, and it would come to the drum solo part, and I'm like, I reject this conceptually. And I would just hit the snare one time, and then it would just like count the rest of the measures out.
What would they say?
Nothing.
Terry would probably be like, all right. Like,
they're probably high.
They probably were. They probably totally were. Terry was high all the time.
I probably was too. That's okay. So yeah, I always played it, and I was in a couple of bands ish. It was like I wasn't writing songs with them, so I didn't really think of it as being
right.
I'm stepping in as their drummer this month.
Right. That's kind of fun though.
Yeah, sure. I didn't have to. It was none of it was my equipment or anything. I just like there's a drum. I'm just gonna sit there. You got some sticks? I don't even have sticks. I'm not even a drummer.
But they took care of it, and you're like, all right,
yeah,
I'm gonna do this for a while.
Here's some sticks. Here's a drum key. Go at it.
That's pretty awesome though. You were like, I want to try that out for a while. Okay. You're never gonna get bored. I think it was fun too because there was just a lot of people you could play with at the time.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Anybody. Jam with many people in
our
practice space.
I think that's awesome. I miss the. I was thinking about it yesterday. I miss the knowing that when you have a regular connection to being creative, right? You're writing songs, and and all of that. And you're this is not even superficial, but you're guaranteed to see your friends at least once a weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or once a month.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, what is it that I'm feeling so lonely about? I'm like, well, you used to have it like set up and into your life. Like you'd practice, you'd see everyone, you were all on each other's schedules,
Went
and
to
then
shows all the time.
went to shows all the time. Or they show that you play, everyone and their dog that you get to see, maybe not for very long.
Right.
And that just doesn't happen anymore. Everyone's just so busy, and so
I have that in my life in a much different context.
Do you?
Yeah, because
In what way?
I surf, and to me, it's like I never go to the beach to surf and not know anyone in the lineup. So people go, "Do you surf alone?" I'm like, "Yes, but no. I go there alone, but I've been surfing for a while now, and I surf my local break, which is right near where I live." And the surfing community takes care of each other. When someone gets sick, benefits are done and money gets raised.
Nice.
When someone dies, we do a paddle out.
Yeah.
We know what each other are doing, and we know each other really well in the context of sitting in the water in our wetsuits between sets. So you know, like when you're traveling, you're sitting on a plane, you might divulge things to a person that you might not tell to someone else because you just know them in that context.
Yeah.
I mean, I have really intense conversations with people that I barely know, but I surf with them on a regular basis.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then when someone comes in and they're kind of an asshole and we don't know who they are and they're being jerks, everyone just will be like, no, you don't pull that here.
Right.
And you see the surfers defending each other, and it's pretty cool.
Just that kind of community and that kind of camaraderie is really yummy. I think.
It reminds me a lot of having a music community, and it's kind of like how church is for people, but it's based on something that actually exists because there is an ocean.
And there is a wave, and you can catch it.
So no, I get it. I mean, I spent a short time going to church, like at post bands, because I felt like traumatized. Like I stumbled, like
oh my god.
Well, I think I felt lonely. Like Hammerbox was lonely for me. You know what I mean? Like I didn't hang out with those guys, you know, and then. I mean, as I think about James, I'm like, I barely spoke to James in that band. I mean, he would leave us so fast. Like, see ya, I found a friend, I found a girl, I found like he was just so quiet anyways. And then Dave, I kind of avoided a little bit, whatever. And then Harris kind of, we didn't talk that much. I don't know. It wasn't camaraderie like I kind of hear you guys or what you're talking about.
Well, it's totally different. It's like we're all girls. It's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting how different bands interact with each other.
Like that weekend, that was like the warm and fuzziest. Like, I mean, I almost felt like a pathetic sister. Like, please like me, I mean, it's been years. I mean, it's just ridiculous to think about. But Harris said that he's like, Karen, gave me some compliment, and I got totally weepy. Like, I really need to hear that. Like,
I hear you, man. That truly, it was like that. Absolutely,
it absolutely was.
Yeah,
and it was nice.
Yeah,
I think
everything was very sincere.
Yeah,
it was like the sincerity, the positiveness. It was just like there was something in that room that weekend that was just like I've never experienced before to that capacity. That everybody brought something to that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like a positive, like good energy in the performance from the crowd, from like everything. Yeah. It was like so. And it hit everybody. I mean, everybody was crying at different points. Just like whoa. Like affected like that.
Well, and it feels like what it should have been like. To me, I'm like, really? It's like, 40 years, I'm like, I feel like life should always be like that, like kind of love and kindness and support like that. But I think maybe when you're younger, everybody's in a different place when you're younger.
Well, I wasn't there, and I'm really sorry that I missed it. I was having a colonoscopy since we're being so
we should have brought it to you.
and if you remember our bands, you should be having one too. But I think the way that you're describing it to me, what it seems like is like it's an absence of ego and insecurities of like there's no. Everyone's worked through all that shit,
right?
Yeah.
So everyone is able to sort of distill all the good things from that era and just leave all the dumb stuff.
Yeah,
it's kind
which is awesome. Which makes me want to do like more stuff. You know
I know.
What I mean? Like, oh, good, finally that bullshit's out of the way. Now we can get to like, the work.
That's how it made me feel too. I was like, oh, that was.
Think about the shit we could do now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? With the worst shit's out of the way. All right. Like, I wouldn't be afraid to say, I want to wear this weird ass dress, Harris.
Yeah.
That's right, fucker. Like,
you're so much more comfortable in your skin now, as getting older and stuff that you're that's how I felt. I felt so much more comfortable in myself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was really strange. I was like, wow, I feel totally different.
I feel good.
No, like getting on stage singing,
Yeah.
like I felt completely different than I did 20 years ago. Whatever we did, I completely did. It was
That's
interesting.
awesome.
It was very
I
interesting.
want to say, but Celine, you rocked it then. You brought it at the benefit too. It was cool seeing you up there. It was different.
Yeah.
It was different watching the footage. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, there she is. Usually I'm over here. Usually for Valerie, especially because you're standing in the crowd.
Yeah, it was a trip. I was really aware of like the fact that it was what we were there for, and that I was having this experience of watching my band's songs performed with
Yeah,
Sure.
with Ben and
me
Tommy and
choosing
Jason.
not to be in it with Ben, Tommy, and Jason, which was awesome and sweet that they.
Yeah.
Liz and I felt really stoked that they.
I would have. I know
if
I'd been there, I would have been like, "Fuck! I need to get up on stage and play these songs."
Right, which I didn't have that feeling at all.
You would've
Like, I was totally loving
Give me
it.
that bass. Give me that.
I wouldn't have traded that experience for the world. It was great. But I was also really aware of the fact that James was in the same situation as I, but not by choice. Like he was watching his band perform songs from the other side of the stage, but because he was sick, right? So it was like this weird sort of bittersweet, like I was having a great time, like experiencing this thing, but then also like this other part kind of weighing on me.
Right.
So it was a heavy night that way for me, but it was watching you guys perform and watching Coffin Break and like, and then just everybody, like all the bands. I was like surprised at the layer of it took a little while for it to like, oh yeah, I totally know that song. Like,
Right.
oh right.
Yeah,
And then like the memories started flooding in, and then just, halfway through the night, it just looks like as if we had all been doing that for a really long time, and watching everybody prepare for the show while there was so many people sick with like limit,
Oh my God,
total
Steve
different
Moriarty
ranges of
it
ability
was.
to
Oh
play.
my
Like some people had some more time to prepare than others and whatever, but you guys all were just so focused and huddled cold in that back room, like, working on like
With the
lyrics and like
stripper pole.
trying to the stripper pole and like all the crap crammed in there, and like Steve like barely like able to move. Rachel's fucking raw, just like ugh. But like everybody pulling it together anyway, and just like rallying, and then and James hanging tough through both whole shows. Like the whole thing just was like, and Ben and you organizing it. I mean, it was just really cool to see it, and the way that the flyer was built, like the old days and everything. Like, I know that for those of us that were in those bands or fans of those bands at the time or whatever, it's more meaningful to us. But I feel like it's interesting for other people that may not even have been part of the scene to look at it, because we replicated a vibe in a short amount of time without it being self-conscious and like egoist. It was just like coming from this pure place. It was really
I feel like
cool.
people who got to see it, I'm sure they could feel it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, oh God, I wish I'd been there.
There was
the whole
something
time,
palpable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really palpable.
Yeah.
I think too, like your comment about feeling good or feeling good in your skin too. I think that's wonderful, because that's a good thing. I think about getting older, like women like in their crone phase and all of that. Like you've earned the fucking right to like feel good in your skin, feel powerful. I mean, it's such a joy, like that. You should feel that way.
Right.
You should get the full breadth of your power.
Yeah.
And then enjoy it, be present to maybe then do more, because that's healing people, that's doing good things.
Yeah.
And to be able to sort of comfortably, consciously sit in that and be like, yes, I am, I am this, I do this.
We recently saw Patti Smith too.
Oh,
The day after her 60th.
Talk about bringing it and owning it.
Perfect.
Wow.
That's great. I wish I should have seen that.
She's like leading the way with a big old like.
I saw only like a
fire
YouTube
stick,
clip,
man.
and she does. She looks. How you watch people and you're like,
so fierce.
like because someone's hyped something up and you're like, that doesn't feel like in the day cool. But I saw a little clip of her and I was like, oh yeah,
Oh
She was
yeah,
so
it was
badass.
great. We saw her New Year's Eve.
way.
Yeah.
The way her body moves and her sense of it's her sense of her persona on stage, her level of comfort on stage, bantering with the crowd and referencing her past and telling little stories. I have to say I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
I've never, and she's, and then a few months ago we saw Frightwig open for L7, and Frightwig is a band from the late 80s from San Francisco, all-female band, and I was going to see L7, so I was like, oh, Frightwig's playing, and then I was just talking to my friends, and then all of a sudden I'm like, Frightwig, holy shit, and then the drummer came out and did a whole song in sign language. And she has long white hair, and I don't know how old she is, in 50s or I don't know, 60s. I don't have any clue. She's got long white hair, and she was super emotional, like signing this song.
Mhm.
And I don't know sign language. I don't know what she's doing, but just her body language and her facial expression and everything about her. I was like, who's representing long, like white-haired ladies from a stage who are signing? And
Right.
it's like, it's such a thing you don't see very much. You see a lot of old dudes on stage.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I feel bad referencing this person as old, but she's got long white hair, man. She's
Old's
fucking
not
old.
bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, yeah, bring the old ladies on the stage.
I think that there is this thing where it's sort of like, oh, your youth was when you were interesting, right? And then you make some passage time and you do other things like become a mother or other things happen and all of a sudden you're not interesting anymore. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's when you get the most interesting.
Right.
If you're willing to, own it and then revel in it. And I think I really enjoy like a good performance, like a for real kick-ass, like I get to see things I was too young to see, like Burroughs or Ziggy Stardust, or like I wish I could have seen some things that I was like, that was the real deal performance, good art. I'm sure we've seen it in our time, but it's like there's just nothing better than that. And so I just love when you watch something like going, that's so real, so good, so powerful.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much other stuff that's not as interesting.
Yeah, that's what Patti Smith was that night. So real, so powerful. Just the honesty and and it was like, wow, like, oh my God. Like we were standing in the back of the room and I couldn't see that well because I'm small. And I was just like, I can't sit here. I just like left these guys and had to move up to the front of the stage. And I got really close in front because I wanted to see her whole body. Like I had to see her whole body. I didn't want to just see the top of her and because it was over everybody's heads.
Right.
And I was just like, it was one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. And she's, how old is she? I don't know, 69. She's 69. She
the day after
blew
her
me
birthday.
away.
That's
She rocked.
amazing.
Like,
Oh,
yeah,
my God.
it was unreal. I was just like, wow. I so needed that.
Yeah.
It was rad.
I saw some clip where she was like wearing her jacket and that was great. And then she took it off, but like everything, I was the same way. Like I wanted to watch her whole body.
Yeah.
Because I think about back in when we had bands or whatever. Like I look at shows at Hammerbox and there's moments where I thought I was moving real big and it's like,
Yeah.
it's because of all the fears and the lack
Right.
of confidence. And other people might not say that,
Yeah.
but it's sort of like
I'm doing a windmill.
yeah. I'm not really good at but I feel scared.
Yeah.
Like I thought so much in Hammerbox about like so many things out of fear I didn't do. Like I always wished I was a modern dancer.
Yeah.
Do you remember that David Bowie video with the woman? There was a modern dance troupe and she had white blonde dreads and it was a slow motion where she'd flip.
No.
Oh God, I'll find it. I can't remember. I thought it was David Bowie. But anyways, I find dancers powerful, right?
Yeah.
And I always secretly in my mind was like, I want the purple skirt, but I want to fucking hugely move and
Yeah.
like move the walls, or
Yeah.
whatever. But in my mind, I'm like,
Right.
just too scared to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I watch people be comfortable in their body,
Yeah.
I
The
think
thing
that's
about Patti Smith is you can tell by every little movement she makes and every little thing she does, there's this underlying solid message that is, you're coming to me where I'm at. I don't care what anyone fucking thinks.
yeah.
There's no rules that apply to me at all.
Yeah.
She was hawking big loogies and spitting.
I love that. Yeah.
And she wasn't wearing makeup. She was just dressed real cool and comfortable, but you could tell her style
Yeah.
coming through. It's just.
That's a good way. That's totally true. You're coming to where I am. You're paid to see her as an artist. Like you can't, and I love that. Like this is what I do. This is who I am. This is what we're doing here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
There's no pandering.
no pandering. I just read her latest book, right? What's it
The
called?
M Train.
Yeah.
M Train.
It's a good
I'd never
book.
read anything of hers.
Ooh.
And I know, which is it was a shame. And I was reading, and there's so many lines in there, especially about the passing of her husband, that just were so great. Just
Yes.
even one sentence where I was like,
Yeah.
that says it. That just says it in a way that's like, it's grief and things like that. So I really liked
You should
that a
read.
lot.
Have you read Just Kids?
I did read that actually a long time ago. I'll go back to it though because I don't. if I read something once, I don't usually go back, but I have to go back to that. And I just love when someone's a writer.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
Have you read Viv Albertine's book yet?
No.
Oh, you have to read
You
that.
gotta read it.
So good. Close, boys.
And Slits.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Music.
Yeah.
Close, boys.
That's the
Nice.
name. That's the title of the book. Yeah.
It's
I love it.
And it's based on what her mom used to mutter when she'd come in later when she'd fuck up. Her mom would be like, music, close, boys,
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh my God, I love
That's
it.
a great
It's
book.
such a
You would
great
love
book.
it. You have to read
Okay.
it.
I'll go get it. I'll get it right
Yes.
away. Yeah, if there's something good like that, I feel super hungry for that kind of thing.
Yeah. You'll dig it.
The thing about her Patty Smith's book, another one of the things that struck me that I really liked a lot or made me feel better about myself is just the amount of time she just sat in that cafe or just fucking passing time.
Yeah.
You were admitting to like watching like
Shows,
cop shows.
Yeah.
And then I didn't feel so bad because I'll
Right?
definitely beat the crap out of myself about what have you been doing?
Yeah.
Like, what, you haven't written anything, or is this really? I remember my mom was alive. We were in Minneapolis, and I had said, Ryan was 3, and I had him when I was 41, and that's good. And it's also sort of no one prepares you for all your time going away, right? There's no time for yourself. And I was telling my mom that I was having this like angst around just having angst in general, like where do I write songs? How do I fit this in? Or I'm tired, or blah blah blah. And I was like, well, Mom, you had Eric and I. You were a single mom. Like, how'd you do it? And she was like, yeah, I didn't have this problem. She was like, we had a routine and I liked it. She goes, I don't have this angsty thing you got going on. And I was just like, good for you. That's great. But so reading Patti Smith's thing, or anytime someone's like, or reading writers where it takes them 7 years to write a book, I'm always like,
Oh,
hallelujah, I'm not
thank
crazy,
God,
right?
Yeah.
I'll get to it when I'm going through other things, and those things are real, right? Like you
Right.
can't speed up grief. You can't speed up your midlife. You can slowly get to know yourself. You can be happy about that or not. You know what I mean? These are the things I'm finding out, at least in the last 10 years. I feel like. So I feel like 10 years ago, I sometimes just hit a weird depression, like hit a wall. It's like, I've never in my life been so like flat on my face, lost and depressed. Like I couldn't tell you what I liked at all. Like just don't even, and I'm until hugely intuitive. Yeah, gonna do that next thing and just bam, boom, and then just a slow getting out from under that. Like everybody's different with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Slow, like getting out from under that, and then you add some wine to that, and it's even slower. It's like, are you ready to get out of the ditch yet? No, this cheese is really good.
Yeah, you got to let that process play
Yeah.
itself out, because
You
I
gotta
kind of
do
hit that 3 years ago, and I'm coming out of it, and I hear you. It's
Okay.
like
Yeah.
I could
It's
feel
real.
that from you, though. I swear to God, I totally felt that from
You
you.
can see
Like,
it on me, man.
yeah.
It's okay.
yeah, I was like, man, I feel you. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, because it's crazy.
It feels like a fight. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Like, so, like in Ayurvedic medicine, I'm like a double kapha. It's like stinky stuck sitting in a ditch. Like to get me up, the fire in the belly is just has taken a long time. This year feels profoundly different. Whatever's happened in 10 years, whatever that is, you slog through it. You slowly get your revelations. For me anyways. And then this is a year where I just was like, what are you doing? Like, I've read a couple books that struck me too. Like I like the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's all about creativity, and then I also like Shonda Rhimes has her book The Year of Yes. Loved that.
That's a great
Because
book.
both of them were like, it's because I think I had this misconception of it's not in the daydreaming, it's in the doing. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, because you are essentially what you do. It's,
Yeah,
not
you
what
can
you
dream
talk
about it all
about
day
or what you
long,
think
yeah.
about, whatever, but what you actually do is,
Yeah.
who you are.
With some rationality, like
Yeah.
I'm a mom, I work 40 hours a week, so
Right.
that's fine. But at the same time, it sort of woke me up in a way that was like, you are passing a lot of time with Netflix and wine. Like,
Yeah.
Time.
I was TCM.
Right.
TCM.
Oh yeah.
Turner Classic.
Oh, yeah, Bravo,
I was like
forget it.
stuck in
That's why
that
we
for a
don't
while.
have
Like,
cable.
I don't care. I just want to watch Cary Grant. Fuck it.
Yeah. It's soothing. I
He's
watched
cute,
the
he's
shit
nice,
out of
he's
The
cute.
Office, like seasons England and everything. Like just whatever's soothing. It's the
Yeah.
narcotics of like,
Right.
for many people right now.
Yeah,
That's
you
the thing I
didn't have
realized
to
too.
think.
It is the narcotic. It's like, there's so many shows, and so I'm kind of wary of that. Like I'll be a little like, why are you doing that? Like,
It's a
put
very
that down.
acceptable narcotic.
Yeah.
It's socially
I know.
acceptable. Everybody.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
It's
I
true.
got
You watch all the
sick
shows you
there
want.
in
Yep.
old movie.
All day long.
Yeah.
All night long.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that. Like, especially with people getting sick and things like that. I'm like, you're gonna die one day. So what am I doing?
Right.
So this year I feel extremely, honestly grateful that I don't know. I was ready. I could just feel it in my gut. I was like, hey, you're getting ready. You're getting done
Yeah.
with whatever this horseshit is. And it just in January it just clicked, and I was like, all of a sudden I was like, what do you want? Like, and for a long time it was really hard post. Hammer Walks and Goodness and any of the experiences. It took me a long time to be like, I want to be signed to a small label. I want to make records. I'd like to tour in Europe. I'd like to go to England and Ireland. I'd like to play a show in Montreal. I don't fucking know how that's going to happen. I do not want to talk to anyone who says, well, Carrie, the music industry's changed. I'm like, you make me depressed.
Yeah.
And I literally have got like baby wings and said,
Right.
fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But I need, I want, if you got to be able to say, what do you want?
Exactly.
I want to go to France for a year with my kid. Like I want to be a musician again. I don't want to be a project manager. You know what I mean? Ryan and I've talked about this forever. Like I'm grateful for the line of work and it's been good to me, but that's not who I am.
Right.
So I've got to find, but at the same time, I'm perfectly happy just to fucking have that thought.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful just to be able to think that, because especially with my mom passing, there would be days where I'm like, you should really, and I'm like, I don't have that in me.
Can I say something that my sister told me? She's an artist.
Please.
And she said downtime is part of the creative process.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, yeah, that's within reason. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to get stuck there, but I like that. I'd never thought of it that way before. I thought that was a pretty cool way to, really cool context to put that in.
No, you're right. I didn't think that's healthy. I just think that I just don't want to be sad anymore. I want to be excited about life. I thought with my mom passing, I was like, this is starting to feel like the karaoke therapy moment though. I just thought I have hopefully 45 more years without my mom. What am I going to do? Well, that's like my whole life. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Like you've got to find your hope and happiness and excitement. Like, and I knew it would come, it's still coming, but it was kind of a scary thought because I just was sad. I did not feel that for a while. I was like, okay, you got like 40 some more years. What are you going to, you got to find some reason why you're happy to be on the planet,
Yeah.
That sounds very dramatic, but it's kind of how I felt.
Everybody
In some
gets
way.
lost, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's good to get lost. I mean, sometimes I've wanted to get lost. I'm like so sick of what's going on around me. It's like, I just want to go get lost. I would purposefully try to get lost. Like seriously,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I don't want to know where I am or who's even like around me. I want to be lost. I've felt that way. Like where you just want to completely disengage and wander off. Like.
This is
and
where
do
being
that.
a woman is different than being a man.
Yeah.
Very much in this way. We're moms.
Yeah.
We don't have that. You can be a dad. I don't care how sexist this fucking sounds. It's the fucking truth. You can be a dad and it doesn't really change your life that much. You can opt how much it changes your life. But when you're a mom, sorry, I know you're
No,
dad.
as a father, I agree though.
Yeah.
There's no sits over there.
When you're a mom, you don't have that much latitude in your decision making.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's very different at that point.
And do you feel that too? Like when I had Orion, I just wanted to be with him. I'm super in love with my son.
Yeah, we were
He's
talking about that. It's like,
Yeah.
we're with our kids all the time,
Yeah.
and then like one day away from, like, I miss him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
We're
like
my little
it's the
buddies.
best feeling. Like he's
Yeah.
fucking funny. Like Orion's
So
hilarious
funny.
right now, and he talks with his hands. He's like, no, you gotta say, you'll meet him.
Yeah, and as their sense of humor starts to develop, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's so incredible.
Yeah.
Like-
And there were times like if you had band practice or whatever, like I just couldn't separate. I still have guilt. Like even today, like when he's like, stay here, and I'm like, I'm more fun. I'm like a drowning rat. I'm like, I gotta do this, all right.
Yeah.
Like I gotta get out of here. Mommy's not,
Yeah.
But I found that hard sometimes to like go. Do you guys find it hard to make time for yourself?
Yeah.
Are you or Elizabeth? How do you feel?
I don't know.
Yes and no. I mean, I waited. I didn't have Tucky till I was 42 when I had him, which is great. To me, it was the most perfect time to have a kid because I really felt settled. Like, I'm ready to let someone else have a spin. I had an awesome spin. I had a ridiculously extended adolescence. So having to grow up a little bit, and have a kid, it's been pretty cool. You know.
Yeah. And you went back to school too, right?
Yeah, I got my master's in nursing a couple years ago.
Oh, right on. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's not a small thing.
Sorry.
It's not a small thing.
That is not a small thing.
I mean, I couldn't. It was such hard work, and it was in a condensed accelerated program,
Oh, really?
and I was working, and I had a baby, so I could never really take the time to appreciate how hard it was until I graduated. Then I just wanted to go up into a field and just flip everybody off and spin around in circles like Julie Andrews, because it was fucking a lot. That was hard, but I just had to have my nose to the grindstone the whole time. Like when you're working out. You're like, I can't stop and take a break and then keep working out. I got to keep working out.
Yeah.
So I did that for like 3 years. I was just like working out, you
Yeah.
know?
But that can kind of be a good thing too, right? Like, because you're like, I don't have time to like figure off to make it work, like worrisome. You know, you don't have time to be like, oh, I'm gonna go worry about it. No time to worry about it.
I didn't realize how much I love bullshit and fucking off. Because after I got my master's, I'm like, I have a master's, man. I'm gonna fuck off and I'm gonna get into all kinds of bullshit because I just worked really, really hard.
You deserved it. I mean, that is a lot. I would have massive burnout, especially 3 years intensive like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nursing. You ain't fucking around. You're doing clinical rotations, so people's lives are at stake. You know, it's not like you're just like, you know, stuffing envelopes or something. You have to be. You can't space off when you're a nurse. You can't like. I'm going to space off for a minute. Most jobs you can space off. Yeah. You can't do that when you're a nurse. It takes a lot of focus. So when I'm not doing that, I fuck off pretty hard, and it's pretty fucking fun.
That's awesome.
To get at it.
Do you like it? How's it going?
It.
See, that's great. I mean, to have and do something that everything that you do, you know, that you love, that's a good life. I think that's awesome.
I'm very happy to have a work identity that accords with my values.
Yes.
I think a lot of people don't have that. So I feel really fortunate.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you're right. I definitely think
like
you're
if
right.
like a lot of times I think asking someone what they do, that's kind of a shitty question. What do you do? Well, you know, what if you're a barista? What kind of answer does that tell? It doesn't tell anyone anything about you.
Right.
So, but I don't feel that way now. If someone says, what do you do? I say I'm a nurse, and I'm very, I feel very proud of that. And I feel like it has a lot to do with who I am.
That's awesome. I think that's a huge, that's just a good, healthy, robust life like that. Just to have all factors of your life get to be something where you're like, I'm interested in that.
Yeah. I mean, I was a massage therapist for a long time, and I think that was a great profession for me too, and I still do that somewhat. But I get restless after a while. You know, I need to move on and do something different, and I think that I've got a lot of movement in that industry where I can go, okay,
I can go anywhere.
I'm an OBGYN nurse, now I'm a this kind of nurse or that kind of nurse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I work in a Latino family clinic, and I'm really happy that I work in a place that has values that reflect my values. We serve uninsured patients, we serve undocumented workers. Almost all of our patients are from Central America and Mexico.
You speak Spanish too?
Mm-hmm. The job is all in Spanish.
That's amazing. So not only are you a nurse, now you're trilingual. What do you do? You speak French, Spanish. What else? Do you speak something else?
Not that good anymore. I used to speak some other stuff, but if you don't practice it, you lose it pretty fast. Tell me about it. Yeah.
That's why I kind of
What
want
do
to
you
go
speak?
back. French.
Oh,
You
really?
and I used to every once in a while.
Okay, sorry, I forgot that.
Don't worry about it. I never talk about it. I mean, why would when does that come up?
It's so funny when people say, it's so funny when people say, I didn't know you spoke French. I'm like, you can never know that about somebody.
I know, right?
How would you know that?
And how do you not toss that out with sounding like an a-hole too? Like, well, I speak French. It never comes up. Oh no! How awful is this? The one time Hammerbox did a tour in Europe, I lost my voice. The show we had to cancel was the Paris show.
No.
I literally was
on stage banter.
And I literally was like, you gotta fucking be kidding me.
That sucks.
It was awful. Yeah, I was like, well, this is just.
I was so happy when we played Paris. I was like, yeah, we're playing Paris.
I know.
Oh my God, that
Like
was badass.
It's the best city ever.
Yeah.
You should if I can have a couple days to hang out. That would be really great too.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't believe it. I was like, sure, of course that's happening. All right, that's cool. Well, I had like a notepad too. I wasn't allowed to talk. So everything, like, how frustrating is that?
Right.
Like everything, shut up,
Yeah.
give me the, it was just awful. Oh well,
She learned sign language.
I should have learned something.
You could assign. You could assign to the whole show.
It was weird though. I wonder if I still have that pad of paper somewhere. I think that'd be kind of funny to see.
It was funny recently. 'Cause we toured Europe, and we all got together recently. I can't remember why we were together, but the four of us. I think we went to a show, either L7's recent show or Babes in Toyland.
Uh-huh.
So we're all at my house, and we had brought some photos and stuff together because we were trying to get together the artwork for the album cover that we're putting out, the live record that we're putting out. So we're all brought our box of stuff down, and we're going through it. We all have the same notebook from the
It's
tour.
the itinerary.
It's the itinerary,
Oh, yeah.
book that we had from the tour. And everybody was journaling in their tour book.
Oh, that's
So we're all
awesome.
reading like the same night.
I'm so telling
These
this story tomorrow.
stories, these stories that oh my God, it was hilarious. Like it was,
That's awesome.
one person would be talking about a person, another person would talk about me, the same person, whatever, that came backstage and was hanging out or some crazy thing, that went down. That was the funniest night. So
That was a great night.
That was a
That was
great
such an
night.
epic night. It was that Babes in Toyland.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
it was.
I love that.
Such a great show too.
Did you guys always like? I have two questions at one time, so my head's exploding. Where's she? Where's she? What is she doing?
She's hanging out with Lulu.
Virgulu.
Yeah.
Right on. I know. I do too. All right. So I would like to see her again sometime too, and we should do this again sometimes. I would love to talk about. Here's my favorite story that you were telling is like, and this is such a small thing. You guys were. I think Valerie, you were talking about driving around, and you and Celine like trying to park the car, and you were mad at each other,
Yeah.
and you're trying to get out of the
Yeah,
car.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh, they didn't get along either. Awesome. I think this is
Oh no, we'd fight.
fun,
We'd fight like
too.
crazy. Oh,
I
totally.
was like, I just
We're
thought
like
that was like,
sisters.
I love that. What were you fighting about? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Who knows now? But it was intense.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember we were coming out of the Pike Place Market. We were in
I
our
remember this.
van.
It was
in our
like
van.
Metallica.
we were going to a show and you
It's
were mad because we
Metallica.
canceled
We
practice.
were mad.
So she
Yeah, and I was
pissed.
like, "What? Like, God damn it! I want to practice." I was pissed off and whatever. I went to jump
Liz
out
is
of the
right.
van. We like pulled up to this thing. I went to jump out of the van. I was like, I'm out of here. I was just gonna jump out of the van, right? Well, I go to open the door and there's a cement thing right there. We pulled up into this thing where you have to exit and get the ticket or whatever. And I slammed the door into the side of the cement thing, and I was like, I shut the door, and then I just opened the door a couple of times again. Like, cram the door just cause I wanted to. I was like, and then-
Dramatic
yeah,
exit
yeah, and
blast.
then just had to like sit there like, God,
That's the worst.
And then another time, I remember we were in the practice space, and we were, I don't know, me and Bella got to fight about something. I can't remember what, but there's these little tiny space heaters, right? Because it's
Yeah.
freezing.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
cold ass practice space, and there's
We were
this
going
little
at it.
heater sitting there doing this little heater thing, and I was going ahead, got pissed, and I just run up and I freaking hit and kick this little space heater and it goes flying. And that was Roshin's like first practice with us. She had just joined the band or something. And she's like just sitting there like in shock, like watching both of us. And I just like booted that heater across the room. And yeah, she's just like,
Liz
oh
probably
my
was
God.
I
Like,
remember
what
this.
the hell did I just get
Was that the
into?
But the
Yeah, I was at
Dutchman,
the Dutchman.
that place was cold as fuck.
But we always
Where
made
was
up.
the Dutch?
Dutchman was down like under the
Viaduct.
Yeah.
Was it on First
Down by
Avenue?
Georgetown.
Georgetown.
It was down at Georgetown.
Was it like on the way to Georgetown,
Yes,
or was it in
it was
Georgetown?
on the way to-
Was Gary Mula? Did he have a studio in there? Is that the Dutchman?
Maybe. I can't remember the guy's name
Dutchman
that ran
outside
it. He
of
was
the-
like in the
Little
front room,
bar
a
next to
little
the
crowded
Mexico,
front
like-
room he had.
Grab stuff from.
Oh, that's funny. I think it's the same place. It burnt down. Anyways.
Did it? I don't know.
Because you're talking about heaters, they had like a paint heater,
Oh.
like red, like a tube that goes, and it's like just red at the end.
Right. Yeah, they
Red
dry out
paint.
rooms, and
So like,
stuff.
don't put your
Yeah.
foot there; it'll melt your shoe. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, that's a hazard. Anyways, we should do a part 2 of this sometime.
Yeah, we'll do a top part.
I'm sure we could go on and on if it seems pleasurable to you guys.
Do
So
3
awesome.
parts. We can have episode 7. Just do that.
Okay, 5.
Yeah.
There you go.
We do my phone too, or something like that.
Yeah,
It'll be fun.
totally.
I mean, it'll be fun. I
It's
like.
super fun.
It's cathartic for me, and I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying the conversations, and it's just so nice to be able to like connect and commute.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
you're welcome. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys later.
Okay.
Bye bye.